everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the song Something Inside So Strong by Labi Siffre. My name is Madison Thompson, and I'll be drawing connections from this song to the trials and tribulations of the Younger family from Lauren Hansberry's play A Raisin in the Sun. Both works explore the struggles of the Black narrative and show the strengths of the Black populace. The artist who wrote this song is Labi Siffre. He was born in 1945 in Hammersmith, London. He started his musical career shortly after schooling and focused on soul, jazz, and soft rock. Siffre was very controversial in his time, being a Black and openly gay musician. Many of his songs voice the struggle of Black people and the racism they still face on a worldwide scale. The song Something Inside So Strong was released in 1987. This song has an interesting origin and was one of Labi's greatest hits. The inspiration from the song came from a documentary about segregated South Africa. In this documentary, Labi saw white soldiers shooting at innocent Black civilians. He felt strongly out of this event and came out of retirement to write this song. I watched the music video for the song and saw that Siffre was making a message about the Black narrative and their struggles. It shows signs that resemble Jim Crow laws, and this was to point out the segregation that was still happening in South Africa at the time. He also ended the video with him walking into what looked like a South African sunset, leading the audience to feel sad yet hopeful. The song does have an uplifting message, and the lyrics honestly speak about the amount of hardships Black people face in their everyday lives. It talks about discrimination and racism, saying that the world is doing the populace so wrong. The lyrics then go to state that while everyone seems targeted against them, they are strong people who have not given up and are capable of making change. One of the interesting lyrics in the piece mentions that the people who enforce segregation hide behind the walls of Jericho. Jericho in the Bible was the infamous wall that was torn down by the Israelites when they conquered the city. This just goes to say that while these people might throw their accusations and then hide behind a wall, it's only a matter of time before they won't be able to hide anymore and will have to face what they've done. As mentioned before, this song was written because of the brutality happening in segregated South Africa. Labi saw that white police were shooting at Black civilians, yet these people fought for their voice and their rights. Labi wants the audience to know how strong one must be to be a Black person. His message is that no matter how hard people try to keep Black people down, they are strong. It also seems like there's something inside the Black populace that has made them stronger than all the evil that has been put up against them. There's been so many atrocities against Black people, yet every time they fight for their voices to be heard. There is a strength within the Black narrative that is undying and unyielding. I think Labi touches on this in his song. Now that we talked about the song, I can begin to compare it to A Raisin in the Sun. As stated before, the music video ends with Labi walking into Africa. One thing Lauren Hansberry explores in her play is what Africa means to a Black person who is affected by the African diaspora. In her play, Benitha is curious about what Africa means to her. Here she's trying on a traditional African piece of clothing. I think one thing both artists are trying to explore in their works is Africa in correlation to Black identity. It's hard to explain, but I think it might have to do something with the what-if factor. What would life have been if there was no diaspora? What would life be like if they had gotten a chance to live safely in their own culture without dominant cultures suppressing their rights and heritage? I also like the lyric, "The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The further you take my rights away, the faster I will run." When I first heard that song, it reminded me of Walter Younger. He is the leader of the household and trying his best to move his family upward. However, in this society, everything seems put in place to keep him down. Yet the harder they try to keep him down, the harder Walter pushes back and tries to find new solutions. In relation to this, one scene Walter appears to have given up his pride. He's trying so hard to do good for his family that he considers appeasing the white community who have asked him and his family to leave the neighborhood. The lyric in the song states that you, implying the oppressors, thought my pride was gone. This community thought they could buy Walter over because they knew how things were slated against him. However, Walter shows that he is stronger than this situation. While it seems reasonable for a man in this circumstance to have all the pride beaten out of him, Walter decides that one thing he still has left is his dignity and moral compass. He knows that he deserves to live in the house as much as any other person and chooses to fight for that right, which is admirable. I want to bring up the walls of Jericho line once more. This white community thought they could buy Walter off and then hide behind their wall of privilege. However, Walter begins to tear down those walls. He shows that he cannot be bought over and that they will not be able to hide behind walls anymore. After he's torn down their protection, he essentially forces them to face him outright and face their own prejudice. I also like the line, "Brothers and sisters, when they insist we are not good enough, we know better." In this play, society is insisting that Black people are not good enough. The members of the Younger family, being a Black family, are affected by this in many different ways. The dominant culture has tried to keep Black families down by convincing them they are not worthy. However, like the lyric says, they know better. Right after the lyric, the song states, "We're going to do it anyway." In Beneatha's case, she wants to be a doctor. Society has tried to keep Black people out of college and has made it very hard for a Black woman to be taken seriously in this career. However, Beneatha knows better. Even though the road is hard, she's going to try anyway. This takes great strength and persistence. Ruth has a different story. Her and her husband live in borderline poverty, not even having a room for their son. When she gets pregnant, she doesn't know if she can afford to keep the baby. If the baby keeps her out of work, then she will not be able to contribute to their new house, stopping the family's dream. However, even though all the odds are stacked against her, she implies that she's going to do it anyway. In Walter's case, society has not let him move up in his career and he appears to be stuck at a low point. Financially, it seems impossible for him to move his family upward and into their new house. However, he knows that he and his family deserve a life, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to get there. He decides that despite every effort stacked against him, he's going to do it anyway, and he does it for his family. The play ends on an open-ended note. We do not know if Beneatha decided to go to Africa and marry rich, and we do not know what Ruth decided about the baby. We do not know how their life plays out in the new and racist neighborhood. In the song, the lyric states, "I know I can make it." It's the message Labi was trying to get across. No matter how many the odds, they can make it, because there is something inside so strong. Again and again, fighting against all the odds, the strength and courage and persistence of the Black narrative remains true. I think both